flying, yeah, you already know this. From the ring to the real, we talking that truth. Laughs get loud when the crew cut loose. It's a cookout, where the takes stay hot and the game stay wild. The cookout, wrestling talk with that family style. The cookout, 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 cookout. Come for the wrestling, stay for the chaos. Workhorse Wrestling Network, let's go! With ALW, CM, Sammy, and Anika. Hot topics cooking, no chaser, no filter. 5 games popping, debates get reckless. If you ready for the madness, then pull up a seat. Workhorse Wrestling Network, this is the...
Hello and welcome to Workhorse Wrestling Network. You are gathered with us tonight for the Cookout Podcast, where we talk about what's cooking up in the world of professional wrestling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As we always do about this time, every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, we are here to talk about professional wrestling. The most pertinent thing that has happened in professional wrestling in the last week or so has been AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view.
Without a doubt.
Their 2026 edition of Double or Nothing. It is one of their big, I want to say big four, but obviously we moved on from that. I guess it's still technically, they still have 4 big ones. And it is, I guess, still technically one of the pillar pay-per-views, for a term that AEW likes to use. What?
Tentpole.
Yeah. So
that goes back to the Barnum Circus days. It's a tentpole event.
Yep, the tentpole event. That's correct. So, before we get started with talking about AEW, Double or Nothing, CM is here. What up? What up?
Ooh.
Good to hear from you. Hope all is well. Hope we see you back here on the show sooner than later. In the meantime, if you're new to the Workhorse Wrestling Network YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on this video, hit that little bell on the YouTube channel. That'll get you notified every time we put something up on the YouTube channel. This is I'm live, just sweating like a crazy person. Probably hot over there in North Carolina.
North Carolina. Sorry.
That's right.
Just Roberts took over me.
If you're with us on Twitch, give us a follow over there. We appreciate you over there as well. Like CM says, like, share, and subscribe. Why is it not showing it? There we go. Like, share, and subscribe. Yes, please. It all helps a lot. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you're with us here, chime in the chat. Let us know what you thought about AEW Double or Nothing from 2 days ago. Let us know about anything else you want to talk about. AEW, professional wrestling style, anything else? Or anything else that's just on your mind. We're happy to talk anything. Sammy,
I'll talk football all day.
When I said this evening earlier today, I said, let's talk Double or Nothing tonight. He said, let's talk about the best wrestling pay-per-view ever. That is not the first time I've heard that. I tend to think that stuff is hyperbole and we're all kind of, hostages of the moment.
I said what might be. I got to watch it a second time.
But you're not the only one that said that. I saw that from, I want to say it was maybe Fightful, and there was another one too that was Double or Nothing the best pay-per-view of all time, the best wrestling pay-per-view of all time. There's a lot to contend.
It's definitely the best in recent memory.
I don't remember them all that well. My short-term memory sometimes, as well as my long-term, isn't always great as far as deciphering exactly what happened on which shows and when they all took place and which shows were what, but it was
I feel like you got to go back 25, 30 years to find a pay-per-view on this caliber, in my opinion.
So, before we crack into more of the specifics, let's talk in general. When you say that, that's putting a lot on it. What made it that good for you? Talk about what made it so special.
First of all, the matches were golden. Secondly, this had a lot of storytelling in it and a lot of long-term storytelling that went into this pay-per-view. And thirdly, the angles that came off of this pay-per-view as well is leading into what looks to be a bright future for the brand.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with any of those things said. I mean, we had 3 titles change hands, which is a big deal. I can't remember the last time a pay-per-view had that many titles change hands. I mean, maybe they have, and I just don't remember, but it seemed like a lot. That seems like usually if you get 1 or 2, first of all, to even have 4 title matches in a pay-per-view a lot of times is a rare thing, right? Unless it's maybe a battle of the belts or a champion special. A lot of times you might only have 1 or 2 title matches. So to have
One
4 and
title change gives you something to talk about.
yeah.
3 title
2 is a
changes. Ooh.
Yeah, 2 is an interesting pay-per-view, that's a lot, and then 3, it's like, yeah, that's a big deal. So 3 title changes. So yeah, no, I mean, I think it was a solid pay-per-view. I mean, man, to talk about, I mean, and again, I personally don't talk WWE much anymore, and I definitely don't watch it, but the milepost is WrestleMania
I'm
17.
jealous.
So the milepost is WrestleMania 17, right? And so the question becomes, again, even if it's not better than that, to even be in that same conversation makes it a very special show. So uh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, watching it, I didn't get to see Zero Hour yet. I watched the actual main card. I haven't watched Zero Hour. At some point I am gonna go back and watch it. I'm not even sure it was called
I
Zero Hour,
I
but
watched clips of Zero Hour, but like I wasn't watching the show yet. So like
yeah,
all the
yeah.
clips I've seen of Zero Hour have been on YouTube.
Right, right. Um So no, I mean, I thought that it was a very solid show. There was some stuff that happened that I thought was very interesting. Um, I guess we could just kind of crack into it.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? You want to just start at the top of the
Start
card?
at the beginning. Yep.
Uh,
And we'll end
uh,
off with Darby and MJF.
let's see if I can find one that actually shows it. I was looking at these results. I'm trying to find results that actually show it in order.
Well,
Stop.
I guess we can do what they did for the pay-per-view. Start with the beginning by sneak peeking into the end. Mick Foley came out in the Zero Hour, and he got kicked in the balls by MJF.
Kicked in the balls by MJF. Yeah, I mean, that's
He
par for
gave
the
quite the
course for
pep talk to
MJF.
Darby.
That is par for the course for MJF. Um, let's see. I'm looking here. Okay, so the show started obviously the show started with Cage and Cope and Cage versus FTR, which this was
Fun
obviously
match.
fun match. Fun match. I thought this. I like this better than the first one, not just because, not just because of the outcome, which I thought was pretty unavoidable. I don't know how you would really have Christian and Edge losing Edge and Christian, Cope and Cage lose again, um, and for storytelling wise and for all that stuff, it's the right thing to do as well.
Hmm.
So not just the outcome, but I thought the match itself was better. Obviously, Beth Phoenix gets involved. Beth Copeland, I guess now is gets involved.
Well,
What do you think of the
I
match
believe
overall?
WWE has the trademark to Phoenix.
Okay. What do you think of the match overall? Just
Solid.
the ultimate outcome and how it played out.
There was a good story that led into this, and the match was a good, end piece for it. I assume this is the end.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what their title run looks like. I mean, the thing that I thought about this, without being critical, I mean, to be fair, these are still some of the best wrestlers alive. That being said, you can kind of see the age on a couple of these guys, right? Like they don't move quite like they used to. And not that I don't think that Edge and Christian are up for it, but it'll be very interesting to see what a 250+ year old tag team run title run looks like how often can they defend those belts, how often will they, what will those matches all look like, who will it be against,
Hmm.
those kinds of things, because I imagine they're not 25, right? So um it's going to be fewer and far between than say some other guys, but I
I'm
think it'll still
I'm
be good.
cool with him holding on to them until the New Day comes in and takes them.
That's definitely something very interesting to talk about. I mean, obviously, with with them exiting WWE, uh, recent recently, and their 90-day no compete clause will be up in August or something. So
I think
if
late
that
June. I
July
mean,
or
not late
June
June, late July.
or July or
I believe
August,
late July,
yeah.
like July 20
So
something.
it'll be very interesting to see what they end up doing if they end up in coming to AEW or not, and what that might look like. I mean, a match with them would be a very fun.
Hmm.
Uh,
I
he
mean,
says, yep. So yeah, it'll be
like,
interesting to
look at
see
the
if they come.
Stadium Stampede match. Like, you got the
Yeah,
Young Bucks in that. They're not in a singles match with, anybody. No, 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 no. They're in a, like, 20-man battle royale.
yeah. No, CM says New Day versus the Elite. Yeah, I mean, there are so many tag team matches for the New Day in AEW that I would be here for. I'd be here for a lot of singles matches for either, you know, Kofi or Austin or whatever he's going to be calling himself, Xavier, whatever you want to call yourself. Um, so
Xavier could
I,
see himself win another tournament while in AEW.
yeah, so I'd be here for all that. No, I think it's very interesting. I think that this is an interesting time for the tag team division. We'll see what they do with Edge and Christian with the belts, and we'll see what FTR goes on to do after this. I don't need to see these guys wrestle each other again for a while, at least. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm definitely
but
feeling that way.
great way to open the show. And the reality is that if you're going to talk about it as potentially being, in the talk of one, it's got to be great from top to bottom, right? And it opened great. It opened with the title change. The crowd was hyped immediately. I mean, this is a big moment, right? Because this is a reunification of two guys that
Yes.
people love and a tag team that makes you nostalgic. And that even if you're young, you know them, you know of them, and so to get to see it is a big deal.
I just have slight worries of where this could go,
Hmm.
but this point of the story, it's really high.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree.
Like, that real high could crater down here in a month, but right now it's way up here.
Yeah, and to start the show with the title change is a big deal. So no, I thought they kicked the show off really good. I thought it was a great start to the main card, and I thought the match was, for all intents and purposes, an A match. I mean, I don't know if I call it A plus, but it was an A match. I mean, it was you get a grade A for that. I mean, it was solid. They did all the good storytelling. They had bets involved. They got their receipt. They got their title run. Now they're going to get their title run. So it's all feel good at the moment. The bad guys got lost their titles, and the good guys. It's interesting to say Christian is a good guy. I get the good guys in this situation. You're our asshole, I guess, is how you would refer to him, right? Um, it's interesting to see, but it's good to see them get their win. So,
Oh,
uh,
and also to that note, Cage's responses on the mic also gold. He's just,
always, yeah,
not going, no, saying,
no doubt,
like your mother.
yeah, yeah, yep, yep. Let's see. So that was a title change, and then the next match we had a
Yeah.
next title change.
Mm.
Takeshita took the international championship from Kazuchika Okada.
Shouldn't
Again,
have done that.
another match.
Shouldn't have done
I
that.
thought that another match that I think the second one was better than the first one. I mean, the first one took place in the C2, so it is what it
Hmm.
is. I mean, those are not that has any reason to be any less, but I felt like they, yeah, Christian Cage for sure.
I mean, we
Uh,
already know the history of Okada. These things work in threes. This was part two. Part three will come one day. We might have to
yeah,
wait a year or two for it, but that day will come. And oh boy, they always throw a big shindig for the third one.
yeah. I thought this was really good. I mean, I thought this match came off really, really good. I thought the strong style stuff was fun. I think when you get two Japanese wrestlers that are really solid in it, you can really kind
Hold
of
on,
educate.
hold on.
Yeah.
everything he's saying is coming from a known Okada hater, by the
Yeah.
way, to all the fans out there. This dude does not like Okada. And this is a wild moment of us hearing praise.
Yeah, no, I mean when
He's
you
good
get
on pay per view, TV, but on pay per view, dude is great.
yeah, I mean when you get two Japanese guys that are, masters of that style and to watch it happen and you can educate the American fans on how the strong style works. I mean that was a master class in strong style wrestling, and it was a very good match. I mean, all of it went off without a hitch. You got Okada that was engaged. You got Okada that gave the energy that you need from him to show you why he is the guy that people talk about him being. And then you get, I know Okada's not going away, and I get that, but he is 42 years old, 41 years old, and Takeshita is 28 years old. And there is a bit of a passing of the torch here to a certain extent. I had that feeling watching a little bit. I don't know that that's something they talked about. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. But that's how it felt a little bit. This was, and you're right, there'll be a part three, and Okada may very well win part three. But in that moment, it felt like this was the evolution of Takeshita kind of to that next, level. And, Okada saying, here you go, to a certain extent, and giving him a solid. I mean, both of them had a great match. I mean, there's nothing I could say critical about the match. The match itself came off phenomenal.
Uh, yeah, definitely a regular. Kirko Chains and Fernando Mendoza moment there with them. Huh?
Were you
I don't
surprised
know.
at the outcome?
I was about to say it might be a bit more Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre than the two of them.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I mean, again, I don't know what it's like in real life between the two of them. Maybe there isn't any love lost. Maybe they really do like each other. I don't know. Kayfabe wise, definitely Okada is not handing him the torch in any way, shape, or form. But that's the feeling that it had just from a fan perspective for me, from that perspective. So, and I think it's time that Takeshita actually gets a run with an important belt. This was time to do this, and it's a big win for Takeshita. I, for what it's worth, it feels like a bigger win for Takeshita than it does a loss for Okada. Like
Hmm.
Okada is going to survive the loss and move on, but this is a really big deal for Takeshita. It's not just winning
Yeah,
the international title; it's beating Okada for the international title. So, and then essentially being ostracized, I guess, or kicked out of the Don Callis family to a certain extent, right? Let's talk about a little bit about what happened afterwards, right? So Callis family comes down. It looks like they're going to. The whole thing was kind of
they
weird
don't
at
look
first,
too
right?
happy.
Yeah, they came in the ring, didn't look too happy, and then it looked like there was going to be some square off. Takeshita definitely was about to do something, and then whatchamacallit showed up.
CM's boy.
Kyle Fletcher showed up. And then Kyle Fletcher makes his way to the ring and kind of intimidates everybody out of the ring from the Callis family. It looks like he's siding with Takeshita, lifts his arm, and then you get the turn. Not the turn because he's already a heel. You get I guess it's still a turn, whatever. You get the stab in the back, right? You get the betrayal, and Kyle Fletcher clotheslines Takeshita, and then the Callis family comes in and
Yeah.
essentially stands over Takeshita.
Villainous
So
friends, man. Villainous friends. They're villains before they're your friends.
definitely,
Should have
definitely.
seen it coming.
Are you surprised at all that this is the direction that they went with this?
Um, I mean, Don Callis is Don Callis. He was going to choose one of them.
Did you ever think it might be Okada? I mean, was it always had this feeling that it might be Takeshita? It feels like Takeshita is more of a natural face. I think he's a nice guy and he has that feel. It feels like it's been harder for him to be a heel just by nature than it is for some of these other guys. So it felt
Yeah,
more like a
and
natural
meanwhile,
shot
for
for me.
Okada to just be a dickhead, like it's got to be like breathing.
Exactly. Exactly. So it made sense to me, and it felt like the kind of the natural person to be the face would be Takeshita. So it doesn't really surprise me, and I'm very interested to see now what this looks like. Takeshita kind of outside of the Don Callis family. I don't know. I don't necessarily need to see Takeshita versus the Don Callis family, like a big, long, protracted feud or anything. A match or
I
two, maybe
mean,
one
a few
against
years back, he was in a
Kyle.
tag team with Kenny Omega.
Yeah. I mean, one match against Kyle Fletcher, maybe because of what happened, maybe another match at some point against Okada, that's fine. But I want to see him move on and start competing for. I mean, he's got the international title now, so he's going to have to defend that. But at some point for that AEW World Championship. So, and sooner than later. So I'm interested to see, what do you think Takeshita's singles run looks like, and what do you think his run with the belt looks like with the international title?
Well, I think he's going to be dealing with the Don Callis family for a bit. So
Yeah, think so.
my expectations are very tampered right now because I don't know how long the storyline is going to go for. I mean, him versus Kyle Fletcher, that could be at All In.
Yeah,
So tamper my expectations that like we might not actually get a lot until All In at the
yeah,
end of summer. We're just at
sure.
the beginning of summer now. Like that's a
Yeah, yeah.
if we get more than that, I'm happy. But like I'm gonna reel in my expectations because I've been burnt a few times.
So two title changes to open the show, two very solid matches, and then we get into the women's the Owen Hart Cup. And the first match of that was Athena versus Mina Shirakawa in a first round quarterfinal match. Solid match. Athena
Fast
does
but
get the
fun.
win. Athena
Uh,
does get the win.
yeah, match didn't have that much time to it. It went pretty quick, but
But I
what they
you could
gave us was very solid.
very solid. Both women are great wrestlers. I mean, I think
Hmm.
you know
I mean, Mina's more of the comedy, but
here's the problem
she
with
she
Mina
can she can go. Like she's not just for the laughs.
Here's the one problem with Mina Shirakawa. I think she's, even by women's standards, she's a little small. We like to do more of kind of the moves that I feel like she has trouble getting some of the women up and into. There are some moves where I feel like she struggles with lifting some of the other women and handling their weight. I don't know,
I
maybe she's
mean,
stronger,
yeah,
bigger.
Athena probably weighs a little more than the Joshi wrestlers doing back in Japan, but
I mean,
it's
Mina is
something she's got to get
impressive,
used
but
to.
she's very impressive and she works fast. She's great. She's high octane, lots of energy. It just feels like the more kind of power moves, she still struggles with a little bit sometimes with some of the bigger women for sure. So,
Hmm.
other than that, I thought the match was fine. I'm not surprised Athena got the win. I figure this is Athena, coming out of that side of the bracket. So, yeah, I mean, I thought this was a solid way to open the Women's Owen Hart Cup. Let's see. Then we had a match that I was extremely disappointed in, mostly just because of the way that the story was told. John Moxley defending the
Oh,
Continental Championship
I'm the complete opposite. This
against
was
Kyle
long-term
O'Reilly.
storytelling. Kyle O'Reilly had his number. And in all these scenes that we've seen of Will Ospreay working out with them, he's not the only one working out. John Moxley is giving it his all to improve himself to become better than he was before. Because before, he wouldn't have handled it as well as he did. Like, there was so much storytelling baked into this entire match. And I love it. And it shows you the difference in the different Shield members. You know, you got Seth, who's betrayed everybody and is surprised Pikachu face when he gets ambushed by his supposed, faction members. And it's like, well, if it happened to Edge, it can happen to you, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
No,
you got Roman, who's got half a faction. His family's in three different factions right now, I think, because they can't, all get along and stay together.
right. Right. Yeah. No, my only problem with this is just for the Kyle O'Reillys of the world, and I get it. It's star treatment. You're the champ. I get it. the fact that you have to beat the guy 3 times to win the title is just brutal. Like, you've beat him twice. You beat him in an eliminator. Like, the eliminator shouldn't be an eliminator. Like, you'd already beat him once. You didn't have to beat him again in an eliminator just to then get a chance to lose to him in Double or Nothing. Like, that's brutal. And I get it's long-term storytelling. Yes, John Moxley's working out with Will Ospreay. He's always honing himself. Kyle O'Reilly is working to get better in his career. He's beat John twice, but those are the best wins of his career. There's no way he can beat him a third time, and again, he doesn't. Of course, because it's John Moxley. And, now he's got to work even harder, and it'll be that much sweeter down the road if and when it happens again. In the meantime, Kyle O'Reilly still doesn't have a belt, and he deserves it. He beat John
I
Moxley twice.
mean,
Like, I
that's
just
where you
don't,
think the story's going? Because I don't think that's where the story's going.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure where the story is going. I'm not sure. Where do you think the story is going?
I think eventually we're gonna get Mox versus Osprey.
Well, yeah, I think we
Eventually,
are going to get it.
but
Well, sure, absolutely. Which is even less fortunate for Kyle O'Reilly because now he's just a footnote in the John Moxley, you know, Will Ospreay saga, right? Which is so unfair to a guy like Kyle O'Reilly. You know what I mean? Especially if you're gonna give him 2 wins over John Moxley, especially 2 submission wins over John Moxley. Like, it's
I
fine.
hear what you're saying, but also it's giving the rub to Will Osprey, and like I'm giving that dude the flowers. I'm sorry, Cal. I like you, Cal. I'm giving the flowers to Will. Like,
Yeah, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. My only contention to that is that Will Ospreay's 31 and Kyle O'Reilly is like 38, and the opportunities Will Ospreay's already had more success. And not that he might not be deserving of it. I mean, I'm not comparing Kyle O'Reilly to Will Ospreay. To me, that's day and night. Will Ospreay's head and shoulders a better wrestler than Kyle O'Reilly. That being said, Kyle O'Reilly is a solid enough wrestler that he should have had a singles title run by now, a quality singles title run by now in AEW. I feel like he's worked hard enough to earn the opportunity. And losing to John, I mean, I guess losing to John Moxley at Double or Nothing is that opportunity, but it just, and maybe Kyle O'Reilly's just happy to be included in a match with John Moxley and in a storyline with Will Ospreay. Ultimately, I mean, who knows? I mean, a guy that's been a mid Carter his whole life, and an independent guy for a
he
long
had
part of
that
his
he
life,
had
right?
that run in NXT,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Cool Kyle Denim Jacket Champion run.
And Undisputed Era had a wonderful run, right? I mean, he's all part of that,
Oh
and
yeah, back when he was the tag champ. Yeah, that
yeah,
too.
and Red Dragon is known as one of the best tag teams to ever lace them up and do it, right? I mean, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly have a reputation that precedes them. So, Bobby Fish for some other reasons, maybe not so great, but so I mean, it's not like Kyle
I,
O'Reilly
I
hasn't had a
I'm
solid
not up
career.
to date on the T on that, but I'll take your word for it.
So Kyle O'Reilly hasn't had a solid career, but it feels like that's a little brutal. I'm not a fan of eliminator matches. Like, if you beat the champ, you should get the belt. You shouldn't have to beat the champ once to get a match and try to beat the champ a second time. Like, he's the champ, he should win. So, or he should lose. So
I
that
like
being
the
said,
way
the
that
match
the
itself.
tag team champs are doing it. Of if you
Mhm.
last, what is it, 15 minutes? If you last 15 minutes, you get a title match. You don't even have to beat us. You just have to last that long.
Yeah, yeah. The match itself was very
But
solid, and I thought that the storytelling was great, and the way it came off was, ultimately, I just wish the outcome had been different. But other than that, again, not every title is going to change hands. We already had 2 change hands prior to this, so you know. Um, Let's see. Then we had my favorite match of the night. I don't know if it was the best match of the night because it's debatable on a pay per view with all this, but my favorite match of the night because it has my currently favorite wrestler of all time at the top of my list in Samoa Joe, and probably my second to third favorite wrestler at the moment in Will Ospreay. So these 2 men open the Owen Hart Cup in a quarterfinal match. I was very disappointed, and I'm still not sure why, this is a quarterfinal match, why one of these men is going to be eliminated immediately from this tournament. I almost would rather them be on opposite sides. I mean, it's going to be Swerve versus Osprey in the finals, I'm sure, but I almost would rather have seen Joe versus Osprey maybe in the finals on opposite sides of the bracket. But again, you got Swerve, and Swerve needs to get his foot back in the main event picture. So he's going to come in from that other side, and it'll be Swerve Osprey, I'm sure, in the finals. That being
Yeah,
said,
I'm surprised they didn't have Swerve and Samoa Joe in the same side of the bracket
yeah, yeah, it
because
would have
I
been
thought that was a
absolutely
match that they would have wanted to revisit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason they did this is because there's that rub now with Osprey kind of choosing Moxley over Joe, right? Like he chose the Blackpool Combat Club over, or I'm sorry, Death Riders. Wow, that was a slip of the tongue. The Death Riders over the Ops, right? And Moxley kind of over Joe. So now Joe, and there's like this kind of like tension between Osprey and Joe. So here's a chance to work that out, right?
I mean, he made the right choice though.
Did he? Did he?
Yeah,
Did
because
did he?
like
I mean,
here's the thing with Samoa Joe. He's only there half the year. The other half he's filming some movie or he's injured. Meanwhile, Mox, that's a dude who you can't pay to take a vacation.
I mean, it all depends on what you ultimately want from it, right? I mean, here's the thing: like Moxley and Osprey together is amazing, but from a mentor standpoint, like I mean, Samoa Joe is Samoa Joe, right? I mean, like, and
Yeah,
intensity
but
wise,
it's
they're equally as
part-time
intense.
Samoa
Like,
Joe versus overtime John Moxley. Are
yeah,
you telling me you won't take overtime John Moxley compared to part-time Samoa Joe?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a tough call. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing: when it comes to the Blackpool, or when it comes to the Death Riders versus the Ops, I mean, there's no comparison, right? It's Samoa Joe and Shibata, and essentially nobody else. I mean, no disrespect to Anthony Bowen, all disrespect to Hook at the moment. Um, but as far as the other people in the Death Riders are far more. I mean, when you talk about Pac, and when you talk about Claudio, and even Wheeler Yutas, the Daniel Garcias of the world, like you know what I mean? I mean, it's there's really two guys in the ops that matter, and there's about five or six guys in Death Riders that matter. So I mean, even if you're whatever it is,
Yuta and Garcia are both dope. Like they're both progressing quite well.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. I feel like you get everything from the Death Riders that you didn't get like from Jericho, right? With that, there's no Moxley vortex that you used to get with Jericho, like when you had people underneath them and it felt like everyone kind of got sucked into the You don't get that same feeling with Moxley and the Death Riders. Like
No.
he keeps bringing in people, but they have their chance to shine on their own, and he backs off and gives them room to become themselves. Where it feels like Jericho just hogs all the camera, right? So
Hmm.
um, no, I mean, this was fine. Back to the match at hand: Osprey versus Samoa Joe. Amazing match. Some classic Samoa Joe. Some classic Will Osprey. Osprey hit him with the two hidden blades to get the victory, and the pin and advance in the Owen Cup. Again, this was my favorite match of the night. I mean, we could debate whether it was the best match of the night. I don't know what you thought your best match of
It,
the night was, but
it
this may
very
have been
well
my
might have been, but here's another factor is that for both of these two dudes, this might be a top 10 match for both of them. And both these dudes have given us a number of bangers over the years.
no, and that's another reason why it's even though it could be a little hyperbole and a little bit hostage of the moment, to talk about it being one of the best pay-per-views of all time when you have a matchup like this with two guys that are, Joe's maybe not at the top of his game as he was, but still definitely not, still on the at the top to a certain extent. And Will Ospreay's definitely, if not still rising at the top, potentially he might still be rising. We might not even seen the best Will Ospreay yet. So um, to have that in the middle of the card, for stakes that are not all that great. I mean, the Owen Cup is important, and you get a title match down the road. But for a quarterfinal match, that's the match is pretty. That's telling you how strong the card is, right? So, um, yeah. Let's see. We had Swerve versus Bandito. which on paper I thought was going to probably be like my least interested match of the night, but it ended up being amazing. Not interested, but I just, looking at papers like all the other matches are banger, and then it's like, why is Bandito there? But Bandito came and showed out. Swerve did get the win, but as I figured
I
he would,
mean,
Swerve was coming from that bracket, but
yeah, this might have been the worst match of the night, but
and it was still
like it
amazing.
was still a banger.
Yeah, it totally was. And Bandito showed out. I still am a little critical of Bandito's 21 plex just because of the way it has to be set up. Um, the idea watching Swerve kind of hold the ropes all doubled over for what felt like way too long, as everybody has to do for Bandito to get in position to actually roll over him and roll back. And it's like, dude, there's nobody's going to stand there that long. It's kind of the same feeling that I had ultimately, unfortunately, and we'll talk about it when we get there with the whole Darby from the top of the stanchion onto MJF on the table, but we'll get there. Um, but I mean, this match was, solid. Bandito came to show out. Swerve ultimately got the win. That the house call or the drive by from when he was on Bandito's shoulders. That one where he jumped, it was like full extension on Bandito's shoulders and then kicked his head. Like, dude, that was insane. There were definitely some spots in this match that were both men are incredible as far as when it comes to like the spot fest moment stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
the big spot.
Like this is the kind of match that people who dislike AEW will point to and being like, it's just a spot fest.
Yeah.
And like that's also why I'd say this is probably the worst match on the card, is because honestly, this match was just a spot fest match. I mean, they're not wrong when it comes to this match in particular. Now the rest of the show wasn't that way.
Yeah.
So like I'm more lenient towards this being a spot fest match because like all the other matches had story pretty much.
And I don't, if it's good spots and the match makes sense, whether there's a storyline or not, but the match plays out, itself makes sense. I don't have a problem with the spot fest. Like that's what's exciting, right? Those big spectacle moments make it exciting. Like and that's coming from a guy that loves the catch can wrestling. Like I'm a wrestling guy. Like I like the technical stuff, but there's something about a guy being slammed through a table or a guy being, thrown halfway across the ring or, all those things, right? Like that make it look
Did you
like
watch Raw?
I did not. Nope.
You're lucky. So like when Javon Evans, like he's acting like his back's hurt, but his back's not really hurt. Like it kind of feels like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. I can definitely see that. Let's see. So Swerve, the one thing I wanted to mention about Swerve is what it looks like is Swerve like he's really ripped up top, but his belly sticks kind of like it looks like his belly's a little swollen. Like I was like, where are the abs? Like he's got a little pot belly almost with like the swollen arms and chest. Like it almost looks a little odd.
Well,
Like I was like,
he might be in the middle of a bulk.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's
yeah,
definitely put on a lot of upper body muscle. So
no
like
doubt.
in order to do that, you got to bulk, and then you cut, and then you bulk,
Yeah,
and then you cut,
yeah.
and he might be in the middle of his bulk right now.
Yep, yep.
That
Let's see.
it basically just means eat healthy, but eat 4 times as much.
Right? Yeah. So Swerve did get the win and advance in the Owen Cup. Let's see. Next we had Thekla, our women's world champion, take
Mm-hmm.
on Hikaru Shida, Jamie Hayter, and Chris Statlander in a fatal four-way for that belt. This is a
The
good match.
story is less about the belt and more about Hikaru and Stat.
Unfortunately, that's true, which is not great when you're talking about your AEW Women's World Champion being involved. A storyline overshadowing the belt and the title or the champion and any champion storyline. I mean, really, I guess the champion storyline is Hayter, I suppose, because for whatever reason, Thekla and Hayter have been at each other since Thekla came in. Um, so But Thekla did get the win and retain her title. I was very surprised, honestly. I'm not sure who I thought was going to win. I kind of half expected Hikaru Shida to win. I really thought Shida might get the win here. But Thekla winning, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I think she's been a very solid champion. I think she looked great in the match. And there's not really, I don't have a problem with faces being champions. That's feel good. It's great. But the legs are usually, the meat on the bone is usually a heel champion. And right now, Thekla, whatever you want to call her, is in her bag as a heel champion. And there isn't really anybody that's gonna, I don't know. I don't see anybody right now that they've been positioned to really take over that spot at the moment. They need to bring
It feels
Mercedes
like
back.
we're just waiting for Tony Storm to come back.
Yeah, and or I'm not sure where Mercedes is at, but Mercedes has to be coming back soon at some point, I imagine. So, one of the two of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, so
like,
um,
but I will say that isolating the pay-per-view, that if the match was that way, I feel like it'd actually be less memorable because instead you got the storyline going on, which kind of takes away from the weight of the title being on the line, but also makes the match more memorable in the long run. So give and take, give and take.
give and take. Another solid match. I mean, only two women's matches, but two solid women's matches. I mean, the first one was a little quick with Athena and Mina, but still very good. I mean, I thought it came off well. And this was better. I mean, this was a solid, I think it was 15 or 20 minutes, and it played out well. And I liked the way this match went. And I thought, I
And
liked the
all
outcome.
four women got pretty good shine.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. Next, we have the reason why I refuse to call this show the best pay per view ever. Because A, I'm not a big fan of multi-man matches, and B, anytime Chris Jericho at 60 years old is the victor, I'm going to be hypercritical. I'm trying as best I can to watch wrestling from a slightly different perspective and be a little less critical. But this match bothered me for several reasons. A, I mean, it was fun. There were a lot of spots. Talk about a spot fest. This is a spot fest. That's all this really is, right? And
This
that's
is
fine.
the turn your brain off and pop some popcorn match.
And it's
This
great.
is the
And there was
this is the blockbuster. This is the
there was a
this
ton
is
of fun
the
stuff.
we're not too serious for this. It's just going to be fun.
But what I get real frustrated with is when you have 10 men or 12 men wrestling and you only get to watch two for 5 minutes. Like, can you at least give me picture in picture? Can you give me multi-screen? Can you give me
They've
different
done picture in
slices?
picture before, and I don't know why they stopped.
Can you give me? I want to know what's going on with the other 10 people in this match. I don't really care about Jericho and Ricochet in the back. Like, those are the two I care least about. I understand that this is Jericho's team versus Ricochet's team to a certain extent, and that's what this whole thing is kind of about. But at the same time, like, I don't need to see just them for 3 minutes of the match. Like, and so in that regard, but it's
And
still fun.
fact of the
Team,
matter as well, Ricochet didn't get pinned. So like,
Mhm,
is this
this is
feud
true.
even over?
No, probably not. And that being said, Team Jericho, I guess, if you want to call it for lack of a better term, did get the win. Um, Bobby Lashley looked solid. Shelton Benjamin looked very solid. Um, I thought that it's fun to obviously see Kenny Omega. The one wing angel through the table was insane. Um, there was, the Bucks are always amazing. All the super kicks, all the spots were great. I just don't like it when you can't see what's going on in the rest of the match. There's obviously 10 other guys fighting, and I'm only watching two of them, and two of them that I don't care about. Like, at least show me guys I care about, So, but that being said, it's fine for what it is, I guess. A lot of people really like this, and this might have been some people's favorite match of the night. That being said, I mean, ultimately, what were your feelings on it?
Um, it was fine. Like this is the throwaway bathroom break match for me. Like
Yeah,
there's an audience for this. I don't think I'm necessarily that, but I understand that these are very popular. And I'm not going to begrudge other people's fun.
That's kind of
That's
how
a
I'm
good
looking
way.
at it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And these are crowd favorites for sure. You get to see a lot of different guys. And even though, Tony likes to have 12 match pay-per-views and a lot of people get matches, there are people that don't get matches. And this is a way to get other people in that aren't, wouldn't have matches, otherwise. So, in that regard, it's great to
Yeah,
see.
because
Even
if we weren't getting this, we'd be getting a Jericho singles match.
Well, there is that. I mean, this is a million times better than Jericho versus Ricochet in a singles match. Let's put it that way. So, if this is what I have to watch in lieu of that, I'll take this every day of the week,
Points.
twice on Sunday. So, and then it brings us to the main event. My my Jewish brethren, my Hebrew homeboy, the big Hebrew, Mr. Maxwell Jacob Friedman, fulfills his destiny and becomes three-time AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
I mean, how do you
Defeating
pick a side here? How do you pick a side? Because you got MJF, your Hebrew homeboy, but then you also got Darby Allin, who is where you're from. Like you got the hometown hero versus your Hebrew
Yeah.
homeboy. Like, pick a side.
Yeah.
Pick a side.
Yeah. Pick a side. No, I honestly I was rooting kind of for MJF. I like Darby, but it feels like as great as Darby can be, I'm just not sure I like him being AEW World Champion. I don't know why I say that. They're just, I don't know. Like,
I
listen,
thought it was
I get it.
fine. Like, it goes back to that saying is that the brightest flames burn out quickest. And like here he was defending that title like 2 times a week, which you have expressed you've wanted to see more champions doing, actually going out and defending their titles. And here Darby has been doing it constantly. And because he's been doing it constantly, he doesn't have the energy to win this match.
And that's the story, right? And that's why it's bittersweet because I do like that, and I like the intensity. I guess I don't like. There's something about Darby Allin that, like, the underdog works multiple times. It can't work every single time. Like the idea that every single 20-minute match you have, 19, you get the ultimate shit kicked out of you, and for 1 or 2 minutes you get a fluke 5 moves, and all of a sudden you're the winner. It's like it wears on me. Like once or twice, that's fine. That doesn't happen and I understand this is kayfabe and it's not real.
It's why you don't like Rey Mysterio.
But you want it to appear like real life, right? The whole idea is that you want this to feel like a real competition. And that doesn't happen in real competition over and over and over and over again. It just doesn't. So you're trying to make it feel unscripted, and yet it feels more scripted and more predictable. So in that regard, that being said, Darby was a fun champion. And, the fact that they gave him a run, at some point he deserved it. He had earned it and he deserved a run with that belt. I'm still not convinced that on a day-to-day basis, in and out, Darby Allin is what I consider main event, world championship all the time guy. I think he's, for me, he's at the very top of the great mid card wrestlers, and maybe works his way into the bottom of the main event periodically. And when Tony's feeling nice, we'll give him the belt for a few months or a month or two. But I don't know. It feels like the belt is back in the hands of someone who can, I don't want to say handle it better, but it feels more like the kind of guy that represents a company, even though he's a heel piece of shit. Just MJF feels more like that guy.
But he's our heel piece of shit.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that. So that being said, my real question is, how bad do you think Darby's head is actually fucked up? Because I think he cut his head open pretty bad on that splash from the top, right? I mean,
he deserves a vacation.
Definitely. I
He'll be
wonder. Yeah,
back.
I wonder.
I have no doubts he'll be back, but he's earned his vacation.
Do you think that they should have, that being said, with the head being bashed open like that accidentally, should they have audible to not have Kevin Knight come out and still splash him? It almost felt like it was too much. Like if he hadn't have, his head hadn't have got accidentally busted open, like maybe that makes sense. But like then it felt almost like it's piling on a little bit. Like I got audible at some point. This dude's fucking bleeding from the back of his head, an accidental gash on the back of his head. Like
I
uh
mean, do you prefer to regret having done something or to regret having not done something?
I guess that's the question. I don't know. That's one of those lifelong questions, right? So
And Sophie's choice,
uh
right?
yeah, yeah. But after the win, after MJF does get the win, they are taking Darby out on the stretcher, and then on the, they roll him out to the stretcher, and then Kevin Knight comes out and gives him the UFO from the top rope on Darby while he's on the stretcher, which is very interesting. And clearly that's a heel turn for Kevin Knight. I mean, clearly that's a heel move. I suppose. I mean,
You
it's a
don't
heel
even
move.
have the title anymore.
Nope. Whether it's a heel turn or not, it's a heel move. Yeah. Why are you attacking him and not MJF, who just won the belt? Like, if your goal is the belt, like, why are you attacking Darby Allin? Like, it doesn't make much sense. So, in that regard, I was a little surprised by that, and I thought it almost
I'm
felt very.
hoping that answer is given to us on Wednesday.
It felt very out of place. Like
It, it's
that
a
was
it's a cliffhanger to end the show on to make sure you tune in to see what happens next.
no doubt. I
So
just
that's
wasn't.
it's like why did you do that? Why we don't understand. Explain
No
it
doubt.
to us. Tune in
Sure. I mean,
Wednesday to find out.
Kevin Knight and Darby Allin feels like a weird position to do that with, like people to do it with. Like for Kevin to come out at that point and do that move at that time just felt odd. Like it feels like there's other people potentially that could have had that spot. But again, I mean, they're pushing Kevin Knight, which is great. I like Kevin Knight. So I mean,
Yeah.
come out and seize your moment to a certain extent, which I guess he kind of did. um, so yeah, no. So MJF is your new champion. Darby's going to go take a break for a minute, I guess, and heal his head. And when he comes back, he's going to have some unfinished business, probably with both MJF and Kevin Knight. But Kevin Knight, I assume first, um, since that seemed kind of whatever. Are you here for Kevin Knight and Darby Allin? Does that get your motor running?
I guess I have to see how the story plays out first. Like because like that storyline has just started pretty much and like see where this goes.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
Um
It
uh, do you think MJF will be champion for All In? Or do you think the
man,
title changes hands by then?
I, you know, I don't. I know Darby's only had it for a minute, and there's been a few title changes recently. I think they like to hot potato the world championship less than other titles. And so my guess is MJF. And with the way MJF does his wrestling, he's only going to defend it once a month. He's only going to defend it after someone that gets a shot at it can beat 3 or 4 other guys first over 3 or 4 dynamites in a collision. So, between now and all in, he'll only have to defend it 2 or 3 times. So he'll probably still have it come all in. The question becomes, who is coming out of the Owen Cup? Will it be Osprey? Will it be Swerve? I imagine it's going to be one of those two. And is one of those two going to
I'd
be
be
his?
very surprised if it's one of the other two.
Yeah. Is their opponent? Is that going to be their opponent? Will be if that's MJF's opponent. One of them is MJF's opponent at All In. Is that where he loses the belt to an Osprey or a Swerve?
I
Um,
mean, it'd be such a big moment for us.
no doubt, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt.
I mean, Swerve's
What
already held the title.
He has. He has already held the title. Osprey has not. So um, it would be a big deal for Will to hold the title. And, Will probably has earned it, both in AEW and his body of work outside AEW. It's hard to be talked about very clearly as maybe the best wrestler on the planet and not have been champion yet or have it coming very, very soon, right? So
And oh boy, it just reminded me of that freaking text exchange between freaking Will Ospreay and Seth Rollins on Twitter back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah, I vaguely remember.
Like, if there was ever doubt before, like, y'all still doubting now? Like, Will Ospreay told y'all like half a decade ago that he is the best wrestler, and everybody else is just keeping up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So what was your match of the night? If you have to pick a match of the night for Double or Nothing.
I really want to give it to Mox, but I know that's my heart speaking, and I can't always talk with my heart. I need to talk with my head too, and my head's telling me it's Will Ospreay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like Darby and Max might have been a little bit more high octane because Darby's so insane and the spot from the top of the stanchion onto the table, which by the way, MJF was not injured enough to lay there for the 10 minutes it took Darby to climb the whole stanchion and jump off. Like that was a little delayed. That was a little much there for me, but it still looked pretty cool.
You can think of a complaint. You can think of a complaint. Can you think of a complaint for the Will Ospreay?
No, I really can't. Honestly, I really can't.
No.
Other than just as a Samoa Joe fan, and it's not rational. I wanted Joe to win. I would have preferred Joe to win, but that's only because I'm a bigger Joe fan at the moment than I am an Ospreay fan. But it's like 1-2 or 1-1A at the moment, also. So I'm not mad about it. So no, I think that match, for all intents and purposes, was essentially pretty much a perfect match in some regards. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think I would go Ospreay and Joe too. And then the MV, your least favorite match of the night, was that the Stadium Stampede, or are you going? What are you going?
Oh, I mean, personally, probably objectively, though, I will go with Bandito and Swerve
Yeah,
because there's a time and a place for the Stadium Stampede. This just happened to be the time and the place where it happened. But it's their sort of Royal Rumble deal. It's their elimination chamber. It's that specialty thing that they do that no one else does, and the fans really eat it up.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, no disrespect to Bandito, but he was really the only guy on the card that was almost kind of like one of these things is not like the other. Even in the Stadium Stampede match, like all those guys feel like they all belong. And I hate to say that because Bandito's a solid wrestler. It just I'll say I was slightly disappointed when I saw Bandito listed in the Owen Hart Cup against Swerve in the first round. I was like, that's probably a victory for Swerve, and I like Bandito, but it's Bandito to a certain extent. I just, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to just agree with you. Like
How
my heart says it's Stadium Stampede because I hate Jericho and those matches rub me wrong. But as far as like fan liking it and all those kinds of things. Like I'm sure Stadium Stampede got way more pop and was way more over than Swerve and Bandito was. And like I said, at least all the people in, as much as I hate Jericho, they all feel like they belong there. Jericho is, even though he's 60, he still has the name. He still, gets the people in the seats. They still fucking sing his song for 10 minutes after the music goes off. Like people still absolutely love Chris Jericho. And so I don't understand it, but so Bandito for me on this card is really the only guy that felt kind of like maybe he doesn't belong.
and Swerve is my boy, and it hurts me to put that match in that position. But
Yeah. So okay, so give it either a
also,
final
I
grade or a
is
number rating.
Swerve like bigger than I thought he was, or is Bandito smaller than I thought he was?
Both.
Because
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Swerve is bigger than I think I originally thought he was, and Bandito is small. Bandito's a small dude, I think. I think he's like 5'3", 5'4" when it really boils down to it. Like he's a small looking dude. Like that's a short guy.
yeah,
So
I
which I
think he
think
might
might
be
be part of the
smaller than
problem.
Darby.
that might be part of the problem that he has too. Like, I know it's a shoulder issue, but like some of his bigger spot moves with the heavier guys, you can tell he has trouble getting them over. And I know he has a shoulder issue, so that could be part of it too. But like smaller guys trying to get the leverage and lift the bigger guys sometimes you can see the struggle. Like it doesn't look like it should.
Like John Cena picking up Big Show.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Like you can tell he's having a difficult time. He does it, but he's having a very hard time doing it.
Which, is a little reasonable because it's the Big Show and he's so ginormous that you would imagine that you'd have that problem. But like a guy
Well,
like
I mean, when you're that small, every wrestler's like facing the Big Show.
no doubt, 100%, exactly. So give this show either a letter grade or a number grade, like A through F or a 1 through 10. What are you giving it?
93.8.
93.8. That's a very specific number. Yeah, I mean,
I think just short of a 94.
it was a solid pay-per-view. I mean, it's definitely at that 90 mark, I don't know how much higher it is for me, but it's at that 90, 91 right there somewhere probably. I mean, it's a 9 out of 10 if we're not giving it, out of 100, it's a 9 out of 10 show. So
if you want to give it an A, I'd say you're right. If you want to give it an A minus, I'd say you're right. It's somewhere in there. I went with 93.8. That sounds right to me. That also sounds like a radio station. I'm gonna have to check my AM FM for that. 93.8.
93.8. The Cookout, 93.8. Yeah,
Ride in style.
It was a solid show. I would give it an A. I can't give it an A plus, and for that reason, I don't know that I don't think for me that this ranks as the best wrestling pay-per-view ever. I think it's in a conversation, when you're talking about let's list out maybe best pay-per-views of all time and you want to create a list of top 10, this is probably somewhere in your top 5, definitely in your top 10. I don't know that it becomes number 1. I just don't know. I'd have to sit with that and ruminate on that for a while. In my mind,
I mean, it just happened. I've only seen it one time. But this is up there, and this is in the conversation. And just a few days ago, that conversation didn't exist.
No doubt, no doubt. I mean, it's hard to surpass WrestleMania 17 in my mind, but we'll see. And Double or Nothing, even though it's one of the big 4, it's it's debatable whether it's a WrestleMania, right? I mean, so AEW doesn't necessarily have what I would call a WrestleMania. I mean, they do
not even All In.
I mean, it's probably the closest that they get. I would think it's probably the closest that they get to a WrestleMania. But so I still, even though I hate WWE at the moment and I'm not watching it and all those things, there still is something to be said for that fucking WrestleMania moment, dude. There just still is, right? I mean, it's just so. But yeah, I mean, so WrestleMania 17 probably still holds that spot, number 1 spot for me, just in general. But again, I need to watch this again and look. But hey, definitely the best pay-per-view of 2026 so far, without a doubt. Like Sammy said, probably the best pay-per-view in the last 3 or 4 years, maybe. And that's saying a lot because AEW puts on a lot of really solid pay-per-views. So yeah, very good top to bottom, 3 title changes, 5 title matches, and not a lot of critical stuff to say about it. So anything else you want to say about Double or Nothing before we do some housekeeping and get out of here?
I just wanted to make a note. What's the moment of the show that you're like, this is the thing everybody needs to know about? Like,
man,
what's the one moment of like, this needs to be an iconic, like, in video packages? Man, this needs to be on the intro to Dynamite.
Intro to Dynamite.
Like this scene needs to be clipped off and segmented and put into the intro of Dynamite.
Oh man, that's tough. Was there a moment like that for me last night? I mean, I suppose probably, as much as it's not necessarily the moment of the night for me, I could definitely see the Darby Allin coffin drop off of the top of the, stanchion, whatever you want to call it, onto the table.
That's what I was thinking too. That's actually what I was thinking too. Yep.
That's probably the biggest spot of the night of the whole pay-per-view when it really boils down to it. It's a championship match. It's the main event. It's Darby. His head got fucked up. It's a pretty insane move. He gave the double guns to Mick Foley before he did it. All of it's set up for a great spot. So that's probably the one you clip. Depending on what you want to do, that second hidden blade with the no pad from Will Ospreay to put Samoa Joe down was pretty nasty. He jumped and leaped at that one. That's a pretty nasty hidden blade. So potentially that, but those are probably the two moments but probably Darby and that coffin drop.
I gave it the worst match of the night, but that moment of Swerve hopping onto the shoulders of Bandito, that could be clipped too. That was quite the spot. Quite the spot.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those clipped for Swerve's career, no doubt. Like when you see a Swerve all-time clip package, that will be one of them in there for sure, and could definitely go in the Dynamite opening package for sure. That was a cool spot. That was a cool spot. Let's see. All right, so I guess that brings us to the end of our Double or Nothing review. We'll do a little housekeeping and then we'll get out of here. So you're with us here as usual on Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern for the Cookout. Come for the wrestling, stay for the chaos. On Friday nights, join Anika and Sammy Joe watching a Friday night fight. Watching SmackDown in real time.
I think we're off this week.
Okay. 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. There will be no Friday night fights this week, but they usually are here every Friday night watching SmackDown in real time, giving you reactions and opinions to the show as it happens. Saturday mornings or Sunday nights, Saturday morning, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, or Sunday evenings, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We will do Winner's Circle where we review AEW Dynamite and Collision from the week before, give each show a grade, and declare a winner based upon those grades. So join us. If you have that bell clicked on the YouTube channel, you will get a notification when this is about to go live. So that way you can make sure and catch it when it does, because it will switch, unfortunately, between Saturdays and Sundays, depending on what is going on a given day.
Availability.
Life be lifing. So you can catch us on all these social media platforms. Come over and check us out. Love to interact with you. You can scan this QR code, and that little horsey will take you to Linktree, and from Linktree you can get to all of our social media from one location, or you can just go to these social media outlets and check us out. We love to interact with you. The best part of Workhorse Wrestling Network is you guys, so we want to hear from you. Anything you guys want to talk about or mention or get into, we're happy to do that. And then last but not least, our wonderful producer Dolores, the person that is responsible for all of the graphics, all of our intros and outros.
Honestly, if you want to just go onto her socials and tell us how much you hate the Chiefs, I'm all here for it, man. Let it off.
Right. Or how much you hate the Cowboys or any of those things. We'll take it all. But Dolores downloads the audio version of the Cookout podcast and then uploads it to these podcast platforms. So you can listen to just the audio version if you don't have time to sit and watch us on YouTube. You can listen to our golden vocal cords while you do whatever it is you want to do. So unless Sammy's got anything else, we will cut the lights and peace.
That was a cookout. Came for the wrestling, stayed for the chaos. ALWCM, Sammy, Anika. Yeah, we cooked it up. Workhorse Wrestling Network. Like, comment.